What's going on, guys? Beautiful sunny day out here in Denver, Colorado. We're in the Cherry Creek area. Hope that you are having a super day. I certainly am over here checking out the Super73 RX. I've been wanting to review these Super73 bikes for a while now. I've always been in, I'm a motorcycle rider. I love anything that's a bit, motorcycle, moped inspired. The mini bike styles like the Juice Scramblers and Hyper Scorpions. Absolutely love those bikes. So super pumped to get to try this one out. We've been trying to get our hands on one for a while, haven't been able to, but fortunately the guys at eBikes USA down here hooked us up, let me take this model for the afternoon. This is the Super73 RX. Now Super73 has a few different models, and this one is one of the more powerful ones. They've got some pretty premium electronics in here. They've got a smartphone app that you can pair it with to enable different modes, tweak the performance and stuff like that. Pretty high-end stuff here, and it's a blast to ride. It's made for, city commuting, I would say. It's like, and adventure riding. It's kind of a do-everything sort of a bike. It's super rugged. I love the look of it. It's got mounting points all over the place on it. You've got mounting points on here and here. There's some underneath on here. There's some more there. There's some stuff back here. I guess you could probably put maybe some foot pegs if you wanted to, take a passenger along. A weight limit of 325 pounds. Really pretty sturdy. That's pretty high up there. It's got awesome full suspension on here. This is some really nice stuff. It's an inverted coil suspension from D&M here. We've got a D&M shock on the back here as well. Lots of adjustments you can make on it. Super high capacity battery, super high powerful motor too. You can tweak the settings on the motor on this. The base level is 750 watt, peaking at about 1200. You can switch that over to unlimited mode and get all the way up to, I think it's like 1200 watt base, 2000 watt peak. Proprietary motor here, right? Super73 branded motor. They don't say who they're partnering with or what's inside of it. It's not Bafang. It is quite powerful. It's definitely got quite a bit of torque. I'd say at least 80 to 100 newton meters of torque on there. The tires on this thing are sweet too. These are 5-inch in the rear and then 4.5 in the front. So we've got a different tire up front for a little bit better handling, a bit more nimble, really thick tread. These look a lot like you'd see on a motorcycle. The punched out rims. It's such a sweet looking bike. I just love the visual appearance. They've got the 73 cutouts on it. They even have 73 like into the tread on the tires there. Just a beautiful, beautiful bike. Now it's a small bike too, right? It's a mini bike is what I call this, kind of a compact form factor. So if you're tall like me, 6'3", it's a small bike, right? Pedaling, not a whole lot of fun. There's only one size available, and it's just got this banana style seat on here. These are shorter than average cranks here, 125 millimeter, where a standard bicycle crank is 170 millimeters in length. They have it this way just because it's short, it's low to the ground. You don't want your pedals to be striking the ground, especially when you're turning. They have the pedals up front here. It's kind of an interesting setup, right? The normal bottom bracket area might be more back here, but they pushed it a bit front just so it's a little bit easier to pedal. But it's only a single speed setup here. You've got a 36-tooth steel chainring in the front, and back here it's a 16-tooth rear cog. They do have this chain tensioner on here, keeps plenty of tension in the chain. You don't have a true chain guide here, just a bash guard. And it's not a narrow wide chain ring or anything. It's a very basic setup as far as pedaling goes. But you can upgrade that. I was looking on their website. You can get a 10-speed setup. I think it's a 48-tooth chain ring on the front. Then you get a 10-speed cassette derailleur setup of some sort for the rear. We don't have that here, and honestly I don't know why you would bother with it unless you're a short enough person that pedaling is not going to be uncomfortable. But for me, I'll show you some footage when we get into the ride test portion here, but it's not comfortable to pedal, and so I wouldn't want to be bothering with shifting gears and pedaling that much. This is a bike where you're going to rely on the pedal assist and the throttle quite a bit more than you would just on pedaling. It's a pretty heavy bike too. The bike by itself was, I think, 71 pounds or so. The battery adds another 12 pounds on there, 11.2 to be precise. So you're looking at quite a bit of weight here. I was surprised, honestly. This weighs up there with some of the big bikes like the Sondors LX that I just reviewed. This one weighs almost as much, even though it's tiny by comparison. But you've got some of that's because it's really sturdy. I mean, the suspension up here, 35 millimeter anodized aluminum stanchions here, 120 millimeters of travel. It's got these plastic kind of bumper guards on the outside to help protect it. The frame is a aircraft grade aluminum alloy that's what is a 6165. I forget, I'll put a little caption here. Aircraft grade aluminum alloy on the frame, so it's super durable. You've got wider, bigger than average spokes on here with 10 gauge in the front and 11 gauge up front, whereas a typical bicycle might have, you know, 13 gauge or so. So a little bit more sturdy there. I appreciate they punched out the rims on here. That helps to cut down on the weight a little bit. 100 millimeter wide rims there in the back for that 20 inch by 5 inch fat tire. And these tires here are, you know, they're Super73 branding all over on there. It says the, you know, V Moto tires, the Badger All, what do they call them? Badger All Road or something like that. I don't know if they include puncture protection, but I mean, this is a really thick tread. I think that they're going to do fine on pretty much any terrain. That's one thing that can be a little frustrating with Super73 is that they don't give you a lot of specifics on stuff, especially when they're, you know, proprietary branding stuff. They're, you know, they're obviously working with somebody for helping to make their parts, you know, like the motor back here. Let's see here. You get some good fender coverage protection. It's kind of split up into different sections, which is kind of cool. It's a unique design, right? You've got a little fender sticking out here on the rear, helps keep stuff from spraying up and hitting you in the back. You've got another one right here to help protect you in the frame. And then kind of the same deal over here. You got a little one on the front and then a little one on the bottom of that tube there. Okay, let's talk about the power and the class setup. So you can see it's got a class 2 sticker on there, 750 watts. You can set this to a bunch of different settings, right? So they have the mobile app, smartphone app, so you can pair it with the bike. I actually did that at the shop, and I'm gonna overlay some video of the app here so you guys can see it. So you can go into the app and you can change settings for your bike. You can change the power settings for it. So you can set it to class 1, which is a maximum top speed of 20 miles per hour. I think that might disable the throttle, I'm not sure, I'll have to test that. You can bump it up to like class 2, which should then, you know, enable the throttle, still top speed of 20 miles an hour. Class 3 will let it go up to 28 miles per hour, a little bit faster. All 3 of those ones are still, the motor is set to 750 watts with 1200 watt peak. Then you can flip it over to unlimited mode, which is unlimited, just like it sounds. 1200 watt base for the motor in that setting, up to 2000 watt peak. I have it in unlimited right now because I've been riding on the streets out here to get over here. That's how I ended up in this spot. And it feels great, you know, riding in traffic. It's definitely got enough power to keep up, very light and nimble. They've got good lights on here too. I'm gonna fire up the display so that you can see those in just a minute here. But there's the headlight, 600 lumens on that headlight, which is pretty sweet. Got it kind of like right into that protective plate there. That doesn't have any side cutouts or anything, so you're not getting any, you know, extra side visibility safety from it. But for straight on, it's super bright. The tail light is honestly not positioned super well. You can see it right there on top of that rear fender. It's really bright, 5 LED, but you've got this top part of the rack right here that is like right in the way. Here, let's turn them on here so you can see. So to turn it on, you hit the button on the left side of the battery right over here. The display will fire up. It's a little like circular LCD kind of. It's pretty cool. It's very minimalist, which I like. I'm super into that. So you can hold down the up right here. I'll turn on the lights. Give a little indicator. There you go. Super bright. So if we come back here, I mean, you can see that nice and bright. But if you were, you know, back behind here, say at approximately car height, that bar from the frame is just right across it. It blocks it out. So, you know, it's not terrible, but so some room to improve there. Just for safety. It is a super bright one, and it's brake activated too. If I squeeze the levers here, then it brightens up. And that the brake activation happens even if you have the headlights off, I found. So if you come up here and turn off the lights, the tail light will be off, but if you hit the brake levers, then it does still light up. Really, that is awesome. That's really good for safety, you know, let people know that you're slowing down, especially if you're riding in traffic, which I mean, this to me is a great vehicle if you need to get around in a city. You can ride in traffic if you need to. You can ride on bike trails, just bump the assist level down a bit. Don't go screaming along at 30 miles an hour on the bike path. That's not safe for anybody. Really good brakes on this thing too. We're working with hydraulic disc brakes from Tektro. These are the Tektro Dorado 3-finger levers up here, nice and easy to actuate. And up front here, 203 millimeter rotor up front, and then 180 millimeter in the back, right? So most of your stopping power comes from this front wheel up here, from that front brake. So you got the 203 bigger one up there that helps to dissipate heat better stopping performance. The suspension is great. It feels super smooth. 120 millimeters of travel up front. You're fully adjustable here. You've got a preload clicker over here on the left, and then rebound on the right. It's a coil suspension with air assist, I think they call it. So the coil is a little bit heavier than air. That definitely helps to add to some of the weight. And then the rear suspension is coil as well, of course. I'm not sure what the travel is. I'm guessing you get probably around 80 to 100 millimeters of effective travel back here. Fully adjustable as well. You can adjust the preload there. You can adjust the rebound or compression dampening, and you can also preload it if you turn this right here to preload that coil a little bit. So if you're a little bit bigger of a rider or a little bit lighter, you can get that dialed in. It's got a horn right down there, and this thing is loud. We got it powered on here. Yeah, it is. I mean, we're talking car horn loud. Like, people will hear you if you use that, which is a really great safety thing for when we ride in a city, especially if there's a bunch of traffic and you need to get somebody's attention. Now, this is actually the battery from the R series, and they're interchangeable between the R and the RX. The exact same battery, so you can use the same chargers and all of that stuff. I'll get the keys out of my pocket here. So to remove it, it is kind of a two-handed thing because it's a spring-loaded key slot. So you have to, turn it here, and then you push the battery backwards on the bike. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. And then it just slides loose. Oh boy. 11.2 pounds for this bad boy. I'm not sure. I think they use Samsung cells. I'm not sure. They didn't say on their website. It's one of those things where they aren't super forthcoming with details on it. But this is a 48 volt, 20 amp hour. That gets you 960 watt hours of power. That's almost a kilowatt hour of charge in here, which is pretty good stuff. And it's 11.2 pounds is not too bad at all for that kind of capacity. They estimate on their website that if you use throttle only at 20 miles an hour, you can still get 40 miles out of it. I haven't ridden that far yet. That's pretty sweet though. And then they say maybe 75 plus if you're using eco and pedaling along with it. Not much to see for it really. There's no USB charging ports or power readout or anything like that on it, which is fine. Still it works like it should. So when you put this back on here, you get it kind of lined up on here, and then you can just slide it in and it'll click like that. And nice and locked in. Pop the key out. Now you can do like dual battery setups on here. Some people have gotten a second battery and mounted it right down in there. You have to get some kind of a switch, I think, to some extra wiring stuff to get that done. But if you wanted to outfit it to be super long range, you could do that. I might get a little uncomfortable for riding that far. But all things considered, for such a small bike, it is pretty comfy. It's a fairly upright seating position, even for me being really tall. It's not ideal. I would like a bigger one, but it's fine. And I think that helps to feel a little bit more nimble. All right, let's run through the display here. So we hit that button on the side of the battery to get it turned on. Now at the start, it's just showing our speed readout, but you can hit this little circle right here, and then you can swap that over to show range. So hey, we got 30 miles left. I don't know if that switch, let's try turning up the assist and see if that changes. Let's switch up to 4. Range 30 miles. But it doesn't seem to take into account the assist level, so I'm not sure how accurate that range is. It's probably just, fixed to the battery, and who knows? It's hard to say. So you can hit this again, and you can see your cadence. That's your pedal cadence, which is actually pretty cool. Most basic displays do not show you that information. Yeah, you can see the power. This will show the wattage output of the motor. Oh, another nice thing to be able to see. Your pedal assist level. Right now we're in 1. So your total mile, that's your odometer right there. 25 miles on this so far. This is a test bike. So it's got, somebody wrecked on it is what the shop was telling me. So it got a little bit of, you know, some scratches right here. The brake lever got kind of jacked up and scratched down there. So it didn't come like that from Super 73. This was a crash from somebody that was testing it. Now coming back to the display here, if you hold down on this circle on the right side of it, you can get into settings. There's not a lot you can do here. You can change your contrast ratio, which is actually quite useful. You can change your units of measurement. Left side, I guess, is for saying which side of the bike you have it on, which I'm not sure why that matters. I guess you can change that. Change your backlight. So it's not even up all the way, but it's been super easy to see out here in the sunlight. Walk mode off, so I guess you can switch walk mode on there. And it's got some stuff for, you know, the firmware version. Not sure what's going on there. And then we go back to contrast. And so some basic stuff that you can change in there. If you really want to tweak your settings and stuff, that's where you start using the mobile app. And it does seem to work pretty well. I was able to get it paired up with my phone in just a couple minutes. Just, you know, put in your name and email and register it. You can jump right in. It's easy to unpair with the bike later, which is really nice. There's some bikes that once you pair it with it, it's like you registered your warranty and everything, and it's just a pain if you're trying to just test it out. So you can change the power settings, right? So it's a little bit confusing because you have pedal assist settings. That's this right here, where you can like switch it all the way down to 0 or all the way up to 4. That's how much assistance it gives you as you're pedaling. It does not seem to affect the throttle. You just get full throttle all the time. Let's try it actually in 0. So if we bumped all the way down to 0, and yep, we still get throttle. So throttle is always live. So you have your 4 different pedal assist levels. When you're in the app, you can change it from class 1, class 2, class 3, all the way up to unlimited, which is where I've got it set now for just for where I'm riding today. It's really nice that you can do that, because if you're riding on, say, a bike path, you could bump that over to class 1. That way you know you're not going to be getting a whole lot of power. You're not going to be going over 20 miles per hour. You're not going to be posing any kind of danger to other riders or to yourself if it's a multi-use trail like we're going to be riding on in just a bit here. And there, I mean, there's tons of other settings in the app. I haven't even messed with all of it. It's even got Google Maps built in, so you can use it for navigating and see some readouts for how much, you know, distance you have left and everything. There's no USB ports anywhere on here, I don't think. At least not any that I saw. Got some extra cords coming out right here, and you know, there's I saw one on the back here somewhere too, that you know, I'm not sure what those are for exactly. You know, some accessories or something like that. No USB ports though, so if you are mounting your phone and using the app while you're riding, you can't charge while you ride, which, you know, would be nice, but you know, it's not necessary. I like the triple clamp design that they've got going on up at the headset here. So this is, you know, what they call the triple clamp, and then like a top clamp, so like a billet clamp style for the handlebars, like you might see on a you know, BMX bike or something like that. It's got bump stops in here too. That's these guys right here, so that when you turn to the side, the bump stops will hit the frame, and that protects your fork up here, right? It prevents the suspension fork from bumping into the frame and getting damaged and stuff like that. It does give you a lower turning radius, which can be a little bit annoying if you're maneuvering it around, you know, in your garage or something like that. You might have to do a multi-point turn to get it around. But I think that's well worth it. This is a lot more durable and rigid if you're doing any kind of, you know, off-road, adventure, trail riding. That extra strength and stability is definitely worth it. I like it's like semi-integrated cabling, right? It gives it kind of a more rugged look, where it's sort of running inside the frame at parts here, and out here there's the horn. You know, all this, it's just a cadence sensor for your pedal assist, and that's it right here. A sealed sensor, so you don't have to worry about your magnets getting bumped out or the sensor disc getting bent if you bonk it into something. Not as high performing as a torque sensing setup would be, but you don't need that on this bike. I mean, it's not meant for any serious pedaling, right? Cadence sensor gets the job done. The kickstand back here is, I mean, pretty basic. It's not adjustable length or anything. I appreciate that it's in the rear. That keeps you from, you know, running the cranks into it. Easier to take care of your chain maintenance and stuff. So it's okay. You know, it is really small, so that definitely helps to keep the weight down. very, back here around the rear hub and everything, this very sturdy, very well designed, where they've got, you know, double bolts going through here, keep everything a bit more rigid. I think it's a pretty thick axle back here. I think it's an 18mm threaded axle on the back here. And then up front, you've got a 150mm on that hub spacing. So it's wider than normal, right? So that's a better angle for the spokes. And it's a 15mm axle up here too, where on a more normal bikes might have like a 10mm front axle for the ones that are really sturdy, and more basic bikes might even have as small as like a 5 to 8mm quick release and stuff like that. So really a lot more rigid design. The hub spacing on the back is actually 200mm, which is super wide. But oh yeah, one more thing before the test ride, I do have the charger right here. Now it's pretty big as chargers go. It is 5 amp output here, so that's pretty good. Standard e-bike charger is typically 2 amps, so 5 amp will charge quite a bit faster, which is nice when you have such a high capacity battery. But that does mean weight. This thing is pretty big, and I weighed it at 2.8 pounds. So it's not nearly as convenient for just tossing in your backpack and carrying with you. Now with the range on here, you may not need to, but yeah, it's a little bit of heft to it. I think you can probably get a more compact charger for them, I'm not sure, but that's the standard one that comes with it. All right. I'm going to be sitting a bit more forward on the seat just to try to keep the chest mounted camera at a good angle so you guys can actually see forward instead of straight down at the ground. So I do have it in unlimited mode, right? And I'm going to bump this, well actually let's just leave it down in a level 0 for now. So no pedal assist, right? So I'm just gonna hit the throttle to take off. We'll get back over to the trail here. Now I think the bike might actually like reset back to class 2 mode when you turn it off. It seemed like it did that to me earlier. So we're going to, we'll try that out real quick here. I'll get down here onto the trail. So I'm just pedaling it in off mode, right? So this is not real comfortable. I mean, you can probably see my knees coming up here, like above the battery. It's just not a very good gearing range for pedaling at low speeds. It's kind of a right in the middle one, right? But I can ride along at 10 miles an hour, and it's not too much work. I'm gonna hit the throttle just to see how fast it'll go. So yeah, it's cutting out right about 22 miles per hour. So I think it switches out of unlimited mode when you turn off and then turn on the bike again. So let me grab my phone out of my bag here. So if we come over into the Super73 app here, let's get it to come back out here. So you go to vehicle. Yeah, so it says, here, let me turn my brightness up a little bit. So it says mode selection 2, so it did reset. So we've got to, and it gives you hints right there for, what the modes mean. It's not a very good contrast ratio, so it's hard to see even for me right now. But anyways, you can bump this all the way up to mode 4, hit save. Now it's unlocked. So that's kind of interesting that it doesn't stay in that mode. That can be kind of annoying if you don't want to bring your phone with you all the time. So now we've got more motor power available to us. So if we just hit the throttle here, it doesn't have a very aggressive start because it is a hub motor. We're not working with a mid-drive or anything. But I mean, look at that. We're already almost up to 20. We'll wait till we pass this person. There's 25, 30, 31. Woo! Brake test. Oh, such good stopping power. So yeah, we got up to 31 miles per hour there. I was holding down the throttle, so it seems like that's 30-ish is probably a pretty reasonable top speed. It's going to depend on what kind of terrain you're riding on and everything like that. Trails like this, you don't want to ride that fast all the time. I just took advantage of that straightaway while there was nobody there. Now let's go ahead and add in some pedal assist here. So level 1 doesn't really give you very much. It seems like it gives you pretty consistent power regardless of the speed that you're going at, though. So if we, you know, slow it all the way down here, just a few miles per hour, and then start pedaling, it's just enough that I can feel it, you know, not a whole lot. Then if we bump it up to 2, we get a little bit more. And riding at these lower ones, it's pretty nice. It balances out the inefficiency of the drivetrain. So, you know, we can cruise on up here it's easy to get up to 20, but you know, now I've got a real fast pedal cadence going. Not very comfortable to pedal. You know, I'm huge for this thing, but even for smaller people, it's not an ideal pedaling setup. It's a lot more fun to use on the throttle. If you put it into that high level of pedal assist, you can realistically only get up to maybe 25 miles an hour before your pedal cadence is just too fast to really maintain. So if we bump that up to level 4, and then I'm just gonna, you know, pedal as much as I can. At 20 miles per hour, it's pretty uncomfortable, and by the time I get up to 25, it's like, whew, that's too fast. Like, I don't want to be pedaling that fast. So if you want to go fast, you're going to be using the throttle. We're going to jump onto off the beaten path a little bit here. And this is a super fun riding scenario for a bike like this. Like, the suspension is awesome. It's pretty comfy to stand up on the cranks too. I'm a little bit too tall for it to really be super comfy, but you can, and you know, just juice it on the throttle. Feels great even on those, you know, bigger bumps. You know, even going pretty fast too. I mean, we're up here around, whew, that was actually a pretty big pretty big bump right there for those river drain spots. But even at these high speeds, feels solid. And I'm gonna get those lights turned on. The lights do not turn on automatically when you power on the bike. You gotta make sure you do that. We got a bit of a slope here. We can see how the throttle does going up here. That's a pretty steep grade here, so I'm just hitting the throttle. We're going slow. We're hitting, you know, maybe 10 miles an hour, but it is able to make it up here on just the throttle, which is pretty impressive. Rear hub motors, you don't get a mechanical advantage back there compared to a mid-drive that can leverage the drivetrain. Of course, we don't have different gears for that to really matter here, but it is sufficient to, you know, get you up a pretty decent hill on just the throttle. So if you help out and pedal a little bit, you should be able to tackle pretty much anything with that. Good traction from the tires, even on this kind of damp grass, which is not an ideal surface for traction. I think we'll go straight across here. I'm actually not entirely sure where we are. I don't live down here, so hopefully we can find our way back over to the shop. This kind of riding, I think, is where this bike really fits well. Just, you know, cruising around in the city, these streets that are a bit lower speed limits, you know, maybe anywhere from 30 to 40 or so. All right, I don't know where this guy's going. We'll go this way. So I've got it, you know, all the way maxed out here. We're in unlimited mode. I've got it cranked up into level 4. That way, if I do need some acceleration, I've got it on tap. If you are going to be riding it on streets like this, you will have to rely on the throttle quite a bit to, you know, be able to maintain higher speeds with traffic. It is just not feasible to pedal at that high cadence. We are on Broadway here in downtown Denver. Hey, is that the Hyper Scorpion? Or the? It's Scrambler. Oh, that's the Scrambler. Yeah, dude, those are the man. Yeah, they're a blast on roads like this. Yeah. It's really nice to see someone else using them. I know. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, check that out, guys. That is the juiced Scrambler right there. Yeah, I have it in the like unlimited mode, and it'll get around like 30, 35. Uh-huh. Hey, you too. awesome. We were able to maintain 30 pretty consistently out there. And, you know, that is with, we're about 75% battery level right now. So as your battery charge level declines, that is going to impact what kind of speeds you can maintain. We're getting a little bit higher. You know, there's 31. We're pretty good, you know. I mean, that's right about on par with what you'd get on, like, say, a gas moped is, you know, right around 30 miles an hour. Maybe like a scooter or something like that. But electric here, so pretty solid there. Let's see, is that 6th? I think so. We're gonna turn here. I think I want that street though, not this one. So confusing, these cities. We'll jump curb, bonk. Start heading back on over to the shop. Yeah, this thing is an absolute blast riding in this environment. Super fun. Super 73 fun. Mini bikes typically are kind of terrible for riding no-handed just from the frame, but I mean, look at this. It's great. You know, you need the throttle, so that is going to limit your ability to do that, but it feels great. It feels more like a motorcycle in terms of just how it handles its speed. All right, I got it switched over to the wattage display here. So we can see just what the motor's doing power-wise. We should, you know, in theory, be peaking up around 2,000 watts since we're in unlimited mode. So once we accelerate up here again, we'll see how we do there. So it's going up to 999 watts, and it kind of looks like maybe that's the max on this display. I think on the smartphone app you could probably see a little bit higher of a wattage readout, but not here. Okay, I got switched back to the standard camera here. I want to show you guys just kind of what the seating position on it looks like, get you a close-up of the motor so you can hear the sound on it and everything. Yeah, you know, I'm just carrying my backpack. You could totally put a rack on here. I mean, you got attachments points and stuff back here. It certainly can handle the weight limit. So that could be kind of nice if you have a bag to carry. You don't want to lug it on your back. So when I get seated up on here, it's nice. I mean, it's comfy. Like, I'm sitting nice and upright. When my feet are on the cranks all the way up at the highest, though, you can see my knees are up way above the battery on here. So it's not super comfortable for pedaling. I'm going to drop the assist level down to 1 just so it's not, you know, overpowering or anything. Right a little bit in the parking lot here. So yeah, it's, you know, not a lot of fun to pedal. It doesn't hurt or anything, but I do ride these mini bike styles quite a bit. So if you've never ridden one before, you'll probably find that your knees are hurting a little bit. Yeah, so you could get it home. If you needed to, you can ride it home like this. It's going to be slow and not a whole lot of fun, but gets the job done. Going to turn around here so that you can hear how loud the motor is and hear the delay on that cadence sensor. We'll bump this all the way up to level 4. So there's that cadence sensor right down there. It's sealed sensor, 12 magnets. And then the way cadence sensors work is as you're cycling the cranks around, that's what activates it. So it doesn't measure torque, it doesn't care or know how hard you're pushing on the pedals. This is a kind of a nice setup for a bike like this because you don't have to push hard on the pedals, right? When it's not very easy to pedal, that could really be kind of a pain in the butt. So I do appreciate that. I think it's a good setup for it here. You'll hear the delay. I'll start pedaling, get a cycle or two around on the cranks before it kicks in, and then same thing on the stopping end. When I stop pedaling, the motor's still going to keep going for a second or so. The brakes will cut that off if you need to. That's just how cadence sensors work. Yeah, a little bit of a delay, pretty standard. If you've ever ridden a cadence sensing setup before, it's going to feel pretty much just like any of the rest of them. I'll do one more and just give you a close-up on the motor there. We're just going to take off on the throttle here. It is a bit loud. I mean, it's about as loud as I would expect for this kind of a motor, right? One that can peak all the way up to 2,000 watts. For a geared hub motor, they do tend to get a little bit on the loud side. People are definitely going to know you're on an e-bike, right? I mean, some e-bikes are designed to be a bit more stealthy. You know, you have integrated batteries and stuff like that. Not so on here. It's It is very much like in your face. It's got the rugged kind of look to it. Definitely an e-bike, right? It is. I do appreciate that they have actual class settings for the different power modes that you can change on the app. A little bit annoying to have to do it on the app, especially every time you ride, but that is really nice if you ever were to get, I don't know, stopped by authorities or anything. Enforcement is really spotty for stuff like this, especially in the US. There's different regulations and different cities, states, you know, different jurisdictions and all that. So it's nice to be able to look at the app and say like, hey, look, I have it in class 1. It says right here in the app, this is what it is. You know, it's got a sticker on it and everything. I'm glad I finally got to check it out because I've heard a lot about Super 73, and it's, you know, it's a mix of good and bad, right? There's not a ton of reviews out there on them, but there are a lot of videos from owners that seem like they're having an absolute blast on them. And it's similar to any direct-to-consumer bike where there's lots of people that are like, oh, this is amazing, I absolutely love it, but you know, things happen, stuff gets broken in shipping, things malfunction, whatever it might be. And so there's always those few, you know, loud people who are like, oh my god, it was terrible, they screwed up my stuff. So it can be kind of hard to tell. And you know, with a brand like Super 73, when they don't have a whole lot of dealers, you know, you can't really go in and test ride it, and who knows how long you're gonna have to wait when you do actually order one. That can, you know, be kind of a risky thing. So I'm glad I got to check it out. I think they're doing a really good job with the stuff. Thanks to eBikes USA again for letting me borrow the bike for the day. And if you do live in the Denver, you know, northern Colorado area, you can actually come in and test ride this. I think they've got every single different version of Super 73's models in here, not just the RX. If you guys got questions about the bike, chime into the comments section or catch me back on ElectricBikeReview.com. I have the full written review there, all of the specs, everything. I weigh every component on here, measure all of it. That way we can share with you guys like, hey, you know, this is what we actually saw when we reviewed the bike. We've got a forum there where you can connect with other riders, and you know, directory for shops so you can find some local shops near you. And you know, we're there. So we'd love to hang out and chat with you. Thanks for checking in. Ride safe, guys. I'll see you out here next time.